Hi, my name's Renee, and welcome to my channel. I'm blind and I have a vision to finish cancer treatment, healthy, whole, and strong, and live the rest of my life cancer-free. Today's video is going to be about advocating for yourself and asking a lot of questions of your doctor. I have been diagnosed with cancer 3 times, misdiagnosed twice, which could have cost me my life. So I want to share my experience and hope that it helps someone out there to understand the importance of screening, asking questions, and getting follow-up care. So my journey with cancer, my first time started, let's see, that was back in 2013. So gosh, 13 years ago, around this time, actually. So I was in the shower, I felt a lump in my breast, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is very concerning. It scared the crap out of me. So I immediately set up an appointment to go get this looked at. So I went to a doctor and I had a mammogram and they saw the lump, and then they sent uh, they sent the I had a radiologist do an ultrasound, and 2 radiologists looked at the lump and said it wasn't cancer. Well, in 2014, sometime in the spring, I felt lumps under my armpit and I thought, oh my God, this is not good. I went to the emergency room and the doctor sent me right straight up to the oncology department. They did a biopsy that day. A few days later, came back. Yes, indeed, it was cancer. So I set up an appointment with an oncologist, and she was looking at the results of the radiology report, and she was disgusted because I had stage 3 cancer and it had spread to my lymph nodes, and she said, wow, she didn't see how this could have been missed. So as a result of this misdiagnosis, I had to end up getting chemotherapy, a mastectomy, and then radiation. And if it would have been caught, well, I did catch it, but I would have been diagnosed correctly earlier, it probably would have saved me. Maybe having to have a mastectomy or chemo, who knows? My second battle with cancer was in 2020. I had a little concerning mole on my face, and my husband said, gosh, you ought to have that looked at. So I went to see the dermatologist. She looked at the mole on my face, said, wow, that's not cancer, not even concerned about it. She looked all over the rest of my body while we were at it and saw a concerning mole on my back. But guess what? That mole was biopsied and it came back, it was melanoma in situ, which is a very early form of melanoma. The surgery was scheduled a little bit later in 2020, a few weeks later. They removed it, and guess what? No cancer for the past 6 years, no melanoma. My latest battle with cancer started in, let's see, May of 2025. I woke up one night in the middle of the night and I was soaking wet with urine. I got up, changed my clothes, said, oh my God, this isn't right. But I thought to myself, well, maybe I took too much melatonin. I'm getting older. I know women leak when they get older. But the symptoms kept getting worse. I kept using thicker and thicker pads. Uh, I thought maybe sometimes there was blood because I'm blind. It's sometimes hard to know, but I set an appointment up with the urologist and I discussed my concerns with the urologist. I said, I'm having symptoms. The incontinence is getting worse. It's getting so bad I can hardly hold it. She goes, were you having bleeding? I said, I think so, but I'm not real sure. I'm blind. So she did an exam, said, I don't see anything concerning. So she sent me through physical therapy, weeks and weeks of physical therapy. It didn't work. The symptoms that just kept getting worse, even though I was doing exercises. I felt like the physical therapist was looking at me like, "You're doing something wrong. I don't know why things aren't getting better." And I said, "Well, that makes two of us. I don't know why either." So after physical therapy was done, went to see the urologist. They did another exam, and she said, "I'm still not concerned, but since you're having incontinence, we'll do some tests um, to test your bladder function." Well, 2 days before Thanksgiving, I had such a horrendous backache and stomach ache, I could hardly move. And my husband took me to the emergency room. Well, the doctor said, "You definitely have a UTI," after I provided a sample. But he said, "Well, maybe because you're having such bad symptoms, maybe it's kidney stones." He said, "Let's do a scan, a CAT scan." So I did the CAT scan, and he said, "There is a mass in the left side of your uterus." And I thought, "Oh, no." And then he sent me for an ultrasound, and she said, "Wow, your stomach is really hard." Keep in mind that uh, I would, all these things were still present when I was seeing the urologist, and I was dismissed. So the doctor said in the emergency room, "I want you to set up an appointment with a gynecologist immediately and have this mass in your uterus biopsied." So went through a biopsy, which was uncomfortable, and sure enough, it came back. It was cancer, a very serious cancer. They thought it was serous carcinoma, and this is a very aggressive cancer. And the gynecologist said, she goes, "This one doesn't play nice," and it just crushed me. So I set an appointment up with my oncologist at the Simon Cancer Center here in Indianapolis, and he arranged surgery to happen just a few days before Christmas. And he did a hysterectomy, and it was robotic, but some of it he had to cut me open to get everything out because the mass was the size of a Nerf football. And then the pathology came back a few days later after the surgery, and it showed it was carcinosarcoma, which is a very rare uterine cancer. It's diagnosed in less than 5% of women every year, but it has a high reoccurrence rate. And the 5-year statistics for survival aren't as favorable as I'd like. But guess what? I am in chemo, and I've got one more to go, and I plan to battle through it. And my mindset is I'm going to survive and beat it. I beat it twice before. I'm going to beat it again. So I tell you all these things because I think it's so important to do your screenings. So mammograms, whatever screenings there are that you can do. But I also feel it's important if you have a lump or bump or something's not right and you feel like you're being dismissed, keep asking questions. And I feel like with those lumps and symptoms that scans should have come first, and biopsies, um, definitely biopsies with lumps, because I think that's the only definitive answer. None of us like to have that. And I feel like the doctors in two of the cases of my cancer, breast and uterine, I was kind of dismissed. And with the uterine cancer, they looked at easy first, treating with physical therapy, and the cancer had a chance to grow. So please advocate for yourself. If you feel like you might have cancer, I know it's terrifying, but catching it early and fighting for your rights can mean less invasive treatment. I know if they would have caught mine earlier with the breast cancer and uterine cancer, maybe things would have been different. So I hope that you found this video helpful. And if you did, I hope you'll hit like and subscribe to my channel and walk through my journey with me. I sure love to hear from you about if you're going through cancer and your experience with your diagnosis and treatment. So until next video, I plan on staying strong. My 6th chemo's coming up. I'll be done. And then I'll have all the scans to screen for if the uterine cancer has come back. I hope it doesn't. So until next time, stay strong.